I'm Georgie.
And I'm Chellbee. Welcome to Georgie and Chellbee TV.
So today we're going to be going over a very juicy topic for you, since this is something that we are recently involved in. We're going to be going over the top 5 workplace issues. And hopefully, at the end of this video, you all will conquer these 5 right along with us.
Pray for us.
Yes.
The first issue, and I think it's a common issue that we all experience, is employers these days and people who are considered leadership, they assume that you need this job, that you don't have any other options, and that you have to be here. So in turn, they just treat you like garbage.
Yes, and I also feel that they believe that we cannot go on interviews on our lunch break.
I'm just saying, why do you think they started phone interviews in the first place?
Exactly. I will hit you with the going outside real quick for 5 seconds.
I will hit you with the I'm sick.
Right.
So I could do my interview.
So I'm sick. So I just think that when employers feel that way, they treat you like really bad. Like, just like a number. Like, they keep you there all day.
Literally.
You know, especially if you're cool with your manager and they know you have money issues or something like that. It can really be stretched out to a point where they're like, oh, okay, well, they need this money, they need this job, so they can stay. They can stay longer. And so that perception is pretty dangerous to me.
There's no respect for your time. Like, you ask for time off and people think that you owe them an explanation as to why you need time off, because they just assume that you don't have anything else going on in your life. They volunteer you for stuff on days that you're supposed to be off, and they look confused when you tell them you absolutely ain't gonna be there, because I know I will with the quickness.
I'm probably like,
no. You can take my name off.
Right, I got plans. Got plans. No, I just think that employers overall forget that their workers are actually people, and that there is a work-life balance, and you should, just as much as these people are at work, you should also expect them to be at home at the same time.
Exactly.
So unless someone says, hey, I can work 12 hours or 14 hours, don't just assume that somebody can stay. Just take the time out to respect their family, because at the end of the day, you get to go home to your family, and while you're at home, your workers are still at work. So just take the time to, listen and understand where we're coming from.
Be considerate.
Be considerate. Be considerate. So how would someone dealing with this issue get through that hurdle?
I mean, honestly, I think you have to draw that line in the sand. Yes, I work for you. Yes, I would like to continue to work for you as long as this works for me, because it has to work for me too. It's not a one-way street. But at the end of the day, this is what I'm available for. This is what I agreed to. And if I'm going to go outside of that, it's going to be on my terms, not yours.
Right.
You can ask me if I'm available, but do not make the assumption, because your feelings will be hurt.
Pretty much. Just making your voice heard. If you can let it continue, it's just going to get worse. And you're going to find yourself working 365 days per year. And you're not going to be at home. So it's okay to tell your manager, look, on the application or on the job description that this is what it was. So you're adding a lot extra, and it's putting a lot of pressure on me. So I was really doing great with the job duties that you assigned me with in the beginning. So please don't add more, because you're not adding more to that paycheck. Okay? You're not. I know you're not, because I saw last week's.
Just saying.
Just saying. Okay. So on topic number 2.
Problem number 2.
Problem number 2.
It's a big one.
When your manager has 0 leadership skills. Okay. There are supervisors that tell you when to clock in.
That's pretty much what leadership is these days.
Yeah. Clock in, clock out, go home.
Do you need your time fixed?
Do this, do that.
But there's no leadership qualities. And by leadership qualities, I just mean they don't have the ability to inspire you. They don't want to make you strive or achieve for more. And honestly, they don't even know what it is that motivates you. Like, all they do is come to work and make sure that you're there. Because most of the time you're not receiving any feedback. In most jobs these days, only time you receive feedback is when it becomes something that they feel is out of hand, like a negative customer review or complaint.
Right.
Or what would be another example?
Everybody got a bonus because you made a sale. Y'all know what I'm talking about with those sales jobs. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
So, I mean, it's like it has to be like a super big deal before they have a conversation with you about anything. Other than that, it's just like, hey, how you doing? I'm glad you showed up today, and I kind of expect you to.
Yeah, and then you'll talk when I leave. That's pretty much
right.
it. But in the middle, I think leadership goes towards if you see one of your employees maybe, you know, falling back on work because they are busy, and if you are, you know, if you see them in the middle of something and you going in there like, hey, can you do this, can you do that? You're like piling on. I think a leader is best when you follow first. So don't be afraid to reach in and help out your employee. I know you're a manager, you work hard for that position, you used to be where they were. But at the end of the day, you're not developing as a manager just by sitting there watching that happen, because then it's going to fall back on you because you're responsible for everything that goes on in the workplace. So take that responsibility and look within yourself and just say, hey, you know, this person's a great worker, or regardless, like the job has to be done. It doesn't matter who does it. It doesn't matter if the CEO does it or the person that's filling out the application. It has to be done. So just take the time to, you know, learn your employees. Everybody's a person. Everybody has a personality outside of work. Everybody's different at work, but outside of work, everybody has a personality. So just remember that it's a person. They need help too. We get it. You worked hard for your position. Kudos to you. But, you know, be a leader and just step in when you can. And don't be afraid to acknowledge your employees when they've done great, and not only when customers complain.
Right. And I think leadership is more than delegating a task. Like a true leader knows when it's an appropriate time for them to jump in and help their team so that their team can succeed. And leadership is about like being able to help your team become one so that you guys can use each other's skills and abilities and help overcome each other's weaknesses so that you can be like the best team possible. And I don't think that that's what you see. And well, personally, I've only worked 2 full-time jobs, but I haven't seen that anywhere. Like, no one really takes the time to get to know what skills their team has in order to make the most of it and really see their business strive and succeed the way that it could. So problem number 3 in the workplace, I think, is no buy-in. Companies don't feel the need to show you or teach you or make you understand what's in it for you. You know, at the end of the day, yes, this company might have XYZ goals. Yes, they may be, you know, halfway there to reaching their goal and, you know, to their success story. But if you don't make me as an employee understand what my part is in that and make sure I buy into that dream that you have, you can't really expect me to deliver.
Right. It's almost just like taking the time to, 1, appreciate your employees, number 1, and number 2, you know, just making sure everybody knows the goal, the end goal, and that everybody has a role in reaching that end goal. Because if you don't have a role in it, you're not going to know what you're doing.
Right.
You're just showing up.
Part of it.
You're just showing up. So if your goal is to take over the world and you have me, you know, just counting your receipts, I don't know how that's going to happen.
Exactly.
But if you say, hey, you counting my receipts helps me get a step closer to my budget, and then when I get a step closer to my budget, and this and that, and then that's how we're going to take over the world. That's how you do that.
Exactly.
That's how you do that. There might be another example out there, but you get it. So our top 4 workplace issue would be lack of respect and being undervalued. And I think those both go hand in hand, because if you're not being respected at work, 9 times out of the 10, you're being undervalued. And a lot of that has to do with respecting my time, because I do make it an effort to come to work on time and leave on time. But for some reason, a lot of employers feel like, you know, we have to come before work hours to do, you know, extra tasks or meetings, and also after work to stay and do extra tasks and meetings, not keeping it important to me that, you know, I have a family at home that I want to be with, and I work with you 40 hours a week, and I would like to go home and rest up and work on things that I have. So I think it's really important as employers to realize that your employees do have lives. Before we got to you and after we get to you, we have to live. So we had lives. And so just respect that. You know, we want family time just like you. Exactly. When you go home, you know, you spend time with your family and you still got employees that are working, you know, 3 hours past. So just remember that we have time that needs to be respected as well.
And I think that just goes back to the simple fact that employers these days don't see us as people or individuals. They see us as a number. They see us as a line item on a budget that is there to meet XYZ task, and they expect those things to be done, but there's no individuality to that. They just feel like, you know, you're there when they need you to be there, and you're going to serve whatever purposes it is that they want you to serve. And that's all well and fine, but you dang sure better make sure you got your employees buy-in, because that's the only way you're going to get people to be committed enough to stay late without them raising an issue. Because I know I personally would, because I don't see the point.
No.
So I'm not trying to stay late because you haven't made me understand why you need me to be there in the first place. And I think the other part of that is, you know, we are undervalued. Like in today's culture, there's so many jobs out there, and the job market is bustling. Even though it goes up and down a lot, it's still overall bustling. There's a lot of job positions out there, so companies don't feel the need to develop you or give you opportunities for growth or promotions. So they feel like you have a job, that's enough.
Right. And it honestly costs more for you to keep hiring people than for you to develop people. Like if you just take the time and really from the beginning appreciate your employees, notice them, give them props, you know, along with criticism, just growing that person, not an employee but a person along the way, you'll be able to keep them long enough to see them grow and be valued within your company. But if we're just looked at as a number, I mean, we're just going to be a number out the door. Exactly. Just going to leave.
I'm going to be looking at the clock the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be my concern. When is this over? Did I make my 8 hours for the day? All right. Peace, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much it. Like, growth within a company is vital for everybody. Yeah. Like, where's your company going to grow if you're training somebody every month? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you're going backwards instead of moving forward.
Exactly. So, you can never focus on the good people that you have when you're constantly going backwards, trying to get new people in the door to fill the positions that you lost people for.
And then you're tiring out your good people.
Yes.
That's number one. Okay.
And that leads us right into the fifth problem, which is you're overworked and you're underpaid. I mean, I feel like every job these days, you're going to be underpaid because of the multitude of jobs, because of the multitude of employers, because of the digital empire and world that we live in. Like, you're going to be pretty much both of those things. It's just a matter of how you handle it, because you can definitely curb being overworked, because you better be vocal for yourself, because if you don't stick up for you, nobody else will.
They're going to keep working you.
Yes.
They're gonna keep working you like a Hebrew slave. Like a Hebrew slave, and then you're not gonna get anything extra out of that.
Not at all. You'll be lucky if you get a thank you most of the time.
Right. You'll be lucky if you get a thank you.
And these, you know, all companies may not be like this. That's the reality. But the majority of companies, I think today in our society, this is a majority of the company's reality. And for the small few people who don't fit into this boat, more than likely, they're probably the people we're talking about, to be honest.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're the people in the upper management position who don't really have any leadership skills, but somehow they managed to become in that position, whether it was years of experience or an education or knowing somebody.
Right.
And so they're not dealing with these issues, but they're probably the cause of the issues that we're talking about.
Right.
So hopefully some of you guys are watching so y'all can take notes and get yourself together, because I feel like as a person, on a personal level, just us as human beings, all of our goals should be every day to pour into other people. So every day that you are here, you should be encouraging other people and helping them to develop in some way or another. That's just me. And if that's not your goal, then I really don't know what you're here for. I'm sorry. I'm just confused.
She said it.
That's just me.
Hit the head on the nail. I said it. I'm not saying you have to pay your employees $1,000 a day.
Right.
But don't make them feel like if they're working $12 an hour, that you're giving them tasks that somebody $40,000 an hour should be making, but you're giving them $12 an hour just to be funny or cheap or whatever.
To save money on your bottom line so you can take more home. That's what it comes down to. It's
kind of sad.
It is sad. It's really unfortunate that we just don't value each other anymore. Not just in the workplace. Like, I feel like in life, that's why it's so much violence. You know, that's why we constantly are hearing of all these massacres, because people don't value people anymore. We don't respect each other. Yeah. And it translates in the workplace pretty much every day.
It does. And I think that a lot of companies now are so customer focused that you're forgetting about the people that make that customer experience happen.
But we're customers too.
Right. We're customers too, because believe it or not,
we're going to be talking about your business just as much as your customers.
Pretty much. I mean, and you have to look at it as, okay, if this person leaves, what was their impression on this business? Because a lot of your business is from word of mouth. And if I go tell you, hey, you know, I worked here and they treated me really bad, 9 times out of 10, my mom or family might not shop with you no more, or might not use your services anymore, more than likely, because that's just how we are. So just remember that your employees are your customers too, and just put them first sometimes, because when you're in an environment where customers are first all the time, you feel left out. And if a customer comes complain and they were lying or whatever the case may be, you're automatically attacking your employee. It's almost like, you know, you don't trust them.
And why do I need to be here then?
Yeah.
If that's how you feel, if you don't trust me to provide the service and to do the job that you asked me to do, then why am I here? Like, maybe this just ain't gonna work out.
Right. Verbatim.
Sometimes that's just what it is.
Verbatim.
Literally. You know, I'm not afraid to be like, look, maybe this just ain't working, because there's only so much that somebody can take. And I know some people will take it till they can't take anymore. I used to be one of those people, and that's why I'm so vocal now, because I just absolutely refuse. I'm not going to put up with nonsense. Like, not at work, not at home, not ever. Like, no, I'm not running around cursing people out, but I will tell you where you can put it. And it ain't going to be over here.
Right. I mean, just create an environment to where people are not feeling like they have to deal with the same issues at home. You know, especially if you're at home and it's stressed out and everything like that, you don't want to come to work to the same environment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to come to a fruitful place, which is supposed to be. We know all workplaces are not, you know, sunshines and flowers and rainbows. But at least if you can do your part as a manager or a CEO, like, hey, I don't know what this person's going through at home, but I know when they come to work, they got a place where they can grow and learn, further themselves, you know, feel valued, feel like they're not being overworked, feel like they're not being underpaid, feel like they're respected, etc. Then you'll have an employee that'll stay with you for a very, very, very long time.
Right.
I promise you. They'll stay.
They'll be committed to your vision.
I would stay.
But see, I think it's a two-sided issue. It's, you know, about how the employers are dealing with us and how that needs to change. But then it's also about how us as employees, how we have to know that we have the control at the end of the day. It's like when those employees at Chipotle all didn't show up and put the sign on the door and said, look, we're not being treated correctly, so you guys are going to have to call management if you want service today, because we won't be serving you.
Right.
You have to be that strong in knowing that you're worth being respected. Your time deserves to be respected. You are an individual, not a number, and that people can't assume or treat you as though you need to be there. Even if you do need to be there, that doesn't make it okay for somebody to treat you that way.
Exactly. Just speak up, because like I said, it's just going to continue to happen, and more than likely it's going to get worse. So just speak up. If it's a lot of you all that feel this way, I'm pretty sure there's a nice creative way, safe creative way, you all can come up with something so that way your voices are heard, because there's power in numbers. And so if you can, you know, get together, especially if it's an issue, then you take the leadership role and say, hey, look, this is not working out, we need to find a way to make this work. If they let you go, I mean, that's their loss. But at the end of the day, you walk away with knowing that you spoke up for yourself and you stood up for yourself, and even other people that don't have a voice.
Exactly.
So if you see mistreatment in the workplace, say something. Just say something. Because at the end of the day, I believe in karma. It comes back.
It's always going to come back around. And honey, I'll be sitting here sipping my drink while it comes back around.
Grape drink.
I can't. No shade.
I can't.
It's just the truth.
I can't.
It's the truth. But we don't want to get too lengthy with this today. We would love to hear from you guys about what your experience has been in the workplace. Are you having a great experience? Do you feel like you're valued? Do you feel like you're respected? What is going on out there? We want to hear more. We want to continue this conversation. I'm on Twitter, so you can definitely continue that conversation with me. I love to chat. And if you want to catch up with Georgie, you can hit us up in the comments section.
Right. And yeah, feel free to put your questions if you have any questions on, you know, how to get through certain issues at the workplace, whether it be with another, you know, coworker or whatever it may be, because 9 times out of 10, everybody's been through everything.
Exactly.
And
so if we can't, somebody else can definitely.
Somebody else can help you in the comments. So please don't feel free to speak. Don't stay quiet about it. So that way you can get, you know, the guidance that you need to make sure that you are having a successful work life. So that's all.
That's it. That's all.
That's all.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching and joining us today. We will be bringing much more videos just like this to you guys very, very soon. And if you like this video, please do click that like button.
Thumbs up, thumbs up.
And also hit the subscribe button. I think it's over here, right?
It's right over here.
I hope so. Hit it. All right, guys. Until next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
We did it.
That was good.
See? It worked out. And we didn't curse. I didn't talk about shooting up the place.
Right.
This time.